Hi, Alan. Thank you for joining me for this edition, if you like, of the author interview. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Pete. Good to be with you. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Alan, just to start off, to give readers, watchers, listeners some kind of geographical breadth and context of the authors in the book. Where were you born? Where were you brought up? And where do you live now?
Born and brought up in Willesden, northwest London. Living in Sussex now, halfway between Brighton and London. And right this minute in my wife's family's holiday home in Muddyford in Dorset.
Right down on the south coast. Lovely.
Yeah.
So, Alan, if you were to think of somebody who knows you well, how would they describe you in a sentence or two? I'll give you two sentences.
Short, smart, and sensible.
You've got some alliteration going on there. I love that. So, anyone who knows you in any way, shape, or form would probably guess what your chapter is about. But for those who don't know you, what is your chapter about in How to Be a Six-Star Business?
It's all about embracing love in business. The concept that, although it may sound a bit fluffy, a bit woo-woo, that treating all stakeholders, whether that's clients, employees, suppliers, the entire group of people who a business owner or business owners or leaders are dealing with respect, with empathy, all the aspects of agape, of one of the Greek definitions of love of everything and everyone.
And what impact do you hope to create by being an author in the book?
I'd like to persuade more people who read it that it's worth a go if they're not already trying it. I suspect that people who are going to read Six-Star Business book are already interested in this in terms of purpose-led businesses that they're involved with. They may already be interested in the three P's, purpose, planet, profit, etc. The perfect ecosystem of having all good things aligned. But in my own small way, if it's a little bit of a force for good, I just feel that there's a lot going on in the world right now, and certainly over the last few years, that's become more and more divisive. And I know that that business owners who are running their businesses following these types of principles are nearly all the ones I know, and certainly all the research that's been done, Pete, have found that they're actually making more money and more sustainably over a longer period than leaders who are going out for short-term profit and just chasing the next quarter share price and so on. So if I can influence a few more leaders to try that, and I give examples of it and some stats, that would be great.
Wow. It's an important impact that needs to be made. And when you think about going from that impact down to your specific chapter and a reader having got to the end of it, what might you say would be either a light bulb moment or maybe even a practical action step that someone could take after reading your chapter?
Well, ideally, they'd feel inspired because I haven't started off like that. If they hear about my story and the journey that I've been on from being a very, very results-led business owner, somebody who spent 25 years founding, growing and selling my own businesses, taking exactly the opposite approach, always being ethical, never anything that it went even near anything untoward, and certainly the businesses I was involved with were all ethical. No tobacco, no gambling, no arms making, nothing like that. Professional audio manufacturing, customer service measurement. But as somebody who's been on both sides of the argument and has come from that style of leadership to where I am now, I hope that they'll take that with more credibility than somebody that might come over, with all due respect to them, as well. Well, they would say that anyway. They're little bit woo-woo. I wonder what they've been smoking. And therefore, if they do take it seriously, what I'd love them to try is to be very intentional about how they manage the culture of their business, how they show up, how they treat people. And by definition, if they're leading their businesses like that others in the company will respond in the same sort of way. So that would be my ideal outcome.
Wonderful. Now, I know this isn't your first rodeo when it comes to writing for a book. How was the experience for you, and how did you feel in writing a chapter for How to Be a Six-Star Business?
Awful. I hate it. I can't stand writing. I'd rather talk, which is why I got help and why I did an interview where, like this, and a very good writer that makes me sound human rather than 18th century Dickensian, dear sir, madam, yours faithfully, thanks to my very expensive public school education, which I can't seem to break out of. And as soon as I put finger to keyboard or grip a pen, I start sounding 200 years old or from an earlier period. So thank goodness for Joe Scott, my brilliant sidekick, who helped me to write it. And luckily that she did all the heavy lifting, and I think the articles come out okay to read, but I claim no credit or responsibility for having written it.
That's a great little story there. Thank you. I mean, love in business is a big topic. There's lots that you could have written about. What inspired you to write about what you actually did and have put into How to Be a Six-Star Business?
Well, it's my story. It's something that I feel very passionately about, Pete. I've even my positioning and my branding is my own name with my coaching practice, and then I have a strapline, Love Business. So that's what I'm all about, and the Six-Star community and yours and Av's philosophy and values align perfectly with Love in Business. So. And the other thing that I was very excited about, that you've designed a sort of, I don't know how to describe it exactly. It's a sort of a map of your values and philosophy and so on. And one of the key ones near the center is the word love. So I thought, that's it, perfect. So that was a perfect meeting, alignment of our values, and that's the thing I had to write about. And I would have been annoyed if somebody else had got in with that chapter before me. So I was delighted that I could have ownership of that subject.
Yeah, depending on your views or beliefs, there's almost an aspect of preordainment about it, that as we were kind of fleshing that out, we were introduced to you by somebody else in the Six-Star Business community, and it's like that's what you do, and it's like everything was kind of the stars were aligning and planets were coming together all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I believe in that. So yeah, and also that timing is everything, I think. And I would say that to some extent, Pete, because I'm a drummer, so I believe everything is to do with timing, and therefore when we met, the coming together of the book and so on was couldn't have been better timed.
I just want to change tack a little bit. So we've been focused on the present and what's going on with the book. But as you reflect back on your life, your journey, your past, getting you to where you are now, what would you say has been your greatest reward, the biggest gift that you've received on that journey?
What I call my stroke of luck. That I had a stroke in 2016, and I didn't know that it would be that's what it was at the time, but that really stopped me in my tracks, and that's when I really changed direction. And although I wouldn't wish it on anybody, and I still am suffering some of the physical disabilities as a result of it, I believe it brought me much more into the present. It probably cut out some arrogance and overconfidence and the sort of superhuman feeling that I think I probably had, and has made me a better. It's such a cliche, but it's probably made me a better person as a result of it. And I also think I'm actually better at my job, because so much of coaching is about empathy and about being able to feel what it's like to be in the other person, in the client's shoes, whether it's an individual or a group of people. If I'm working with a group, and I noticed that after I had the stroke, I was much more in tune with the way people are feeling, either one-to-one or in a room, and even over Zoom, even over this new sort of way of communicating, particularly since the pandemic, that I've been doing more and more of, to watch little things about body language and energy and so on. Little, in poker they call them tells, that people have. And I think that's something. Of course, there's another Alan who's part of the 6-star community, who is an expert in face reading. I've had some really great chats with him about it. And it's a similar sort of effect that the stroke had. It almost enhanced a superpower, if that doesn't sound too strange, at the same time as bringing me more down to earth. So although that was something that was a really horrible experience, overall, looking back, I would say that's been the greatest gift.
The internet connection is a little bit choppy, so I'm just going to wrap it up now with the final question. The book is How to Be a 6-Star Business. So the question to you, Alan, is what does it mean to Alan Wick to be 6-star, and why is it so important to you?
It's a way of showing up, a way of being in the world, a positive force. Even if I'm feeling like SH1T when I get up in the morning, I do my utmost to try to be positive, to have an optimistic outlook, to want to do what I can to make the world a better place in my own small way. So I think being part of the community, being trying to have a 6-star business myself, although these days I don't have any employees. I have about a dozen people who are all working with me, who are all freelance, and they've all got their own businesses. I treat them, I do my best, even when there are mistakes and I may feel annoyed, whereas in the old days I might have just let that fly, to manage that and to be a better person, and to help others with their businesses. So to magnify that, I think, as best I can. And that's why it means a lot to me to be part of this community.
Thank you, Alan. Erudite and eloquent. I was looking for that other E word. As usual, pleasure to always spend time with you, and thanks for your time. When it sounds like you should be out walking in the Dorset countryside.
Thanks, Pete. It's really appreciate being invited to contribute to this fantastic initiative, and speak soon.